That's kind of an interesting topic to bring up. Both the past 2 seasons, both MVPs of the NFL and arguably best fantasy players were both free agent acquisitions. Patrick Mahomes in 2018 and Lamar Jackson in 2019.
Yep. I think that speaks to like the perception that last year's results will automatically translate to next year and people's unwillingness to forecast how good a player is going to be.
Mhm.
Because if like everybody knows, like if you're at a draft and you pick all these guys that you're really high on, but that didn't necessarily perform the year prior, like everybody's going to say like you have the shittiest team. So like, there's peer pressure to draft players that have name recognition and that have produced recently, but that ultimately, to your point, Mike, that's just it's historically not the way to go.
Yeah,
But
and with
I
Lamar
will-
Jackson, at least we had a decent sample size of
Yeah.
where like, I'll give us a pass on Mahomes because there was just the one game, and you heard he was talented, but you don't really know what is going to happen. But we all should have looked at the end of the year prior of 2018 and seen that like the Ravens turned around and knew that there was a good system. They would commit to the run, but he also took an ascendant leap that was pretty hard to project. But for someone who, for running quarterbacks, and as much as we value them in football, fantasy football, it's amazing that no one took a flyer on him ahead of time.
I think that playoff game scared a lot of people because he couldn't throw the ball accurately. And that was like our last impression of him. And certainly nobody saw 43 total touchdowns coming from
and 1,200
Lamar
yards.
Jackson. I know, it's insane. But you're right that we probably should have paid attention to that. And the fact that they got rid of their Super Bowl MVP quarterback.
Which happened actually in both cases, which is interesting. Like when they ship out like the incumbent veteran who is actually decent or like has a decent pedigree, which both Alex Smith and Joe Flacco did, take notice.
Yeah.
Like they're moving on. And maybe we should say the same thing about the Bengals, except that he hasn't even hit the field yet. They haven't seen him in practice yet. But that's another case where if they were a little more conservative and rolled with Dalton and then kind of moved off, you'd be like, okay, let's watch. And maybe it is something to watch for the players that are understudies at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, or even guys that have proven track records like Nick Foles, if he wins the job from Trubisky, I think that says a lot. Or even Phillip Rivers, who is a consistent fantasy producer. And the fact that Jacoby Brissett played well last year and they still brought in Rivers, I think says a lot. So, I mean, the bottom line is that when Jordan Love takes over for Aaron Rodgers, that should be a high draft pick.
Yeah.
Well, he was an actual high draft pick for the Packers.
That's right.